Hello, everyone. Very good morning, and welcome all of you on this first session of the DevOps Essential Workshop for all the software tester and QA, organized by CSQA, which is a community of software QA professionals. So, just a bit idea about CSQA if you are not aware. We started this community back in last August. So, the overall idea is to provide an enablement platform for all the software QA professional. If we are a good community, let's say if we have even learned something, if we want to collaborate, and we are doing that with 5 people, 10 people of our team, of 50 people of our team, still there will be a limitation. So we come up with an idea to have a community of larger number or the larger people where we can collaborate, we can mentor, we can be mentee, we can learn together, we can share together, we can collaborate together, and that help us out, all of us, to grow in our career, in our professional thing. So that's an idea, overall idea about the CSQA. So far, we have done many events. As part of that, we have done a couple of meetups. We have done a workshop on JMeter. We have done a workshop on Selector Hubs via Sanjay Kumar. We have done a couple of different panel discussions, and also we are doing such events regularly every month. So we do have a LinkedIn page. We do have a LinkedIn profile of CSQA. There is a CSQA YouTube channel where we are uploading all the session videos. We do have our Telegram channel of CSQA. We'll share the link for that, and request to all of us to stay in touch with all these social media channels, so you'll get all the regular updates. And yeah, again, we are calling out all the experts. We are calling out all the people to be volunteer, to be speaker, to be expert panel speaker, etc. for all the CSQA community, because this is our community. This is for us. This is by us. So again, I'm Shailesh. I am welcoming you, everyone. Today, our speaker is Maulik Shah. Maulik is having like more than 10 years of experience in software testing, and he is a veteran practitioner of the DevOps, having multiple DevOps certifications. And today's idea is just showcase all the essential things, and will be starting from basics of what is DevOps, how it will be helpful for us on QA. Someone has asked on the comment whether it's for beginner. Yes, it is for beginner. We are starting from beginner, and this whole series of this particular workshop, there will be multiple session, will be starting from beginner to expert level. Everyone will get benefited. So stay in touch. With that, without wasting much of time, I'm just handing over to Maulik to start with that. Over to you, Maulik. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Shailesh, for a brief introduction. I'm welcoming everybody. Good morning. This is Maulik Shah. So today, as Shailesh has mentioned, we will be talking mainly on DevOps essential for software testing. Now, when we go on a DevOps, everyone have a thought like, what is DevOps? So I have taken a high-level definition which we usually search. So if you go on a wiki, they are mainly saying about nothing but a practice which is combination of development plus IT operations. There is no software QA has been mentioned, but if you refer out little detail or over there, the agenda or the purpose of DevOps is nothing but a high software quality. If you see here, they have clearly mentioned out that it provide a continuous delivery with a high software quality, and that's where the role of software QA comes. We equally play the same level of role and make sure that whatever we are delivering have a high level of software quality. When it goes to AWS, one of the top trading cloud provider, they also refer out more over the same philosophy, that DevOps is nothing but an organizational capability to make your application up and running and helpful to the customer. Same with the Google, that they are, it's a cultural movement for a software velocity or a software quality. Now, when everyone saying with reference to the definition, it also contains one of the methodology which is nothing but a agile methodology. Now many of you you have raised a uh, like a query that what actually a DevOps is about, and where do I fit into that, and what is the role of DevOps engineer, how that works. So I have taken out one brief image, like one image which brief about agile DevOps. When I say agile DevOps, it's a continuous process, and when we add the word agile, it's nothing but it gives you a continuous improvement also. So when we go on a current development methodology, right now, all of the major product based companies are following the product development using agile. They have a product backlog, sprint backlog, and they usually follow the 2 week of sprint. And they have a user story, bug, burn down chart, and other things. So that's called as an agile development. Now, when it goes to agile development, the next mode comes that how and where the platform or the product or the other things will be available for user or end user. So then it goes on a continuous delivery of the same product. So for a continuous delivery and other things, like project manager or a project scrum master and other members are involved. When we go on a continuous feedback methodology, what I mean to say here is DevOps also contains a same psychological benefit, that DevOps is not that if you define that you will go from a position A to position B and that is defined. There are many ways that even when you are using a lot of DevOps software or a lot of DevOps methodology, still your application might not available. And we have recently seen that Google themselves went down. Even AWS is not giving any surety on 100% availability. They are saying 99.119 behind that. So that's the reason that even with that level of methodology or even with that level of infrastructure, you cannot assure that you will be 100% available, and there is always scope of improvement. And when we say always scope of improvement, it's a continuous feedback. When we go on a continuous integration, a development team or a QA team, or now even there are scenarios that a dedicated team for managing the CI/CD, uh, they are being referred out. So development team as well as ops team will be responsible for managing the build and continuous integration part. And on the same front, continuous testing. So when I go on a right side corner, you will see that continuous testing. Even in the continuous testing, when you go on a real life cycle, like when we have thought of with this session, we consider that software QA is also a same methodology where continuous testing comes into the picture. So as a QA, what we are doing, we are also doing the same methodology. We are also doing a continuous testing, providing a continuous feedback, and we have a different platform. So earlier, maybe we will start with the production and development environment, then we will move. So it's a green where we will see that, okay, it's a development environment. Then we will see that it's a QA environment. Then we will validate on the staging environment, and we will make sure that our production environment is up and running. So we will also follow the same continuous testing and continuous feedback. So this is what I am referring, that when I saw an agile DevOps, it's a continuous feedback. When I say a current continuous testing or a software QA methodology, it also follow the continuous testing and a continuous feedback. So with reference to that, why a software QA can migrate to a DevOps? So there are a certain skills which required on an individual front, and why we feel, or based on our experience, we also felt out that a software QA can migrate into the migrate as a DevOps engineer. So these are the common activities where a software QA is also involved, and also a DevOps activity involved. When I say a software QA, we are also doing a manual and automation QA, as well as we are following a hybrid QA activity where few of the area are automated and few of the area like image level of comparison and other things, those cannot be automated. So we are doing a hybrid level of automation on those front. Importance of a product environment, yes, because when I say a DevOps is equally responsible to have your environment up and running. Same on the software QA front, that whenever a software QA playing a role of a release, he is equally responsible that there is no major bug or a major defect is being missed by him or her, and that's why their production environment should be on an important role. Zero gaps, yes. When I say a DevOps also playing the same role, that when they say that there was some issue and they make it up and running, same a QA is responsible to make sure that there is no major bug or a major functionality is broken when it's on a production on any other environment. So QA is also responsible for that. Agile, yes, everybody is right now following the agile, and QA already following the agile, because even when the beginning area of our QA life cycle with a V model, it was a kind of agile where we were responsible for a continuous feedback on the different stages. Here we are responsible to follow the agile methodology by giving a short term releases and short term feedback and a quick feedback. So that's why the common activity goes on DevOps as well as on a QA front. Security. So as a QA, we might have come across a scenario that someone has by mistaken shared out credentials, or someone has put down those credentials files into the automation script, and that has gone to the Git commit and other things. So QA needs to make sure that those things should not happen. Same in the case of DevOps, that DevOps is also responsible that their automation, their infrastructure key or their infrastructure access key, their credentials and other things cannot be shared out, and that they should be secured, as well as their environment should be secure enough. So that's what going out on a common activity front. When I say a common skill set, someone has raised a. Okay, yeah, Shailesh is sharing something. Okay, so common skill set, yes. A QA engineer should be a flexible engineer. He should make sure that he is available. So there are cases that uh, development team provide a release at maybe 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and you need to make sure that before ending your day, you need to validate a major functionality and provide a vital response or a smoke results to your team. So same goes on a DevOps front, that a DevOps engineer should be always available, or he should make sure that whenever the infrastructure having an issue, he should be in a availability mode. Troubleshooting is one of the key skill which required in QA as well as on DevOps. When I say QA, we are normally following like identifying a bug with a detailed understanding of a flow or different other way around. Same way goes on a DevOps front, that we should be able to identify by troubleshooting that where the actual problem is, and then we can able to provide the immediate solution out of that. Domain knowledge is one of the key area for both of the skills, where when I say domain knowledge, if you are experienced with certain domain, then only you will able to provide a detail oriented identification or able to do a troubleshooting in a right way. If you are a new on a DevOps, and if someone asks you to do a troubleshooting, you will juggle because you will not able to identify that where the loopholes is. So same in the QA, like if you are a new in the QA and if you are trying to identify a bug, there are a possibility that you might find a wrong bug or invalid bug. And same, so that's why the domain knowledge is a key skill. Communication is again a primary skill, because when I say a DevOps required a right level of communication to the right channel at a right time. Same goes on a QA also, that right communication should be there. So if it's a bug, you should able to communicate in the same way. Same on a DevOps front, that if it's a issue and if someone is not able to resolve, or someone is not uh, uh, responding in a specific period of time, you should follow the right level of communication channel, escalate it if required, because it's directly impacting to your production environment. So common skill set, yes, communication, and then documentation. Documentation is one of the primary skill for a DevOps, because when I say a DevOps, he is not only making sure that their environment is up and running, but he or she is also responsible to write down that why that problem has been observed, what is the root cause analysis out of that, and out of the root cause analysis, he or she need to also provide that uh, what they have what step they have followed to make sure that that's up and running, and that should not happen in the future. So that's where the documentation skills is also equally important. Moving on to the next slide. This is what I have identified based on my experience and with reference to discussion with different friends. So when I say a DevOps is a methodology used to enhance user experience with continuous feedback. And then when I say software QA, software QA is nothing but a procedure used to enhance users experience by a continuous feedback. So when I say continuous feedback, it's parallel in both. So that's why we feel that a software engineer who is having a QA experience can migrate into DevOps. Uh, I'll move on to the next slide. Here I have what I have identified is like there are different market-based job profiles. When I say market-based job profile, if you see like uh, DevOps or a platform engineer. So he or she is nothing but a responsible to understand the software development type cycle and making sure that pipeline and their platform or their environment is up and running. So these are the now if you go on search for a market and check out that okay, what are the primary job profile for a DevOps and in what I can fit, you will only find this one. So here there is no direct relate or a mapping that where a software QA engineer can be fit into. Okay, but these are a high level of job profiles. Build engineer is nothing but he is responsible to make sure that their Git or any other build environment and their build deployment and other things goes out in a right way. Their CI/CD should be reporting and making sure on a regular interval that they are up and running. So that's where the build engineer's role come. If anything is not working as a right way, then he will make sure that he fix the job so that it validate the environment and make your environment or your infrastructure available. Reliability engineer is nothing but that one of a key eye who is performing a daily activity on a regular phases and making sure that support activity is going on and their infrastructure and orchestration and integration availability, everything goes out with that. Release manager, he will define that when we will do the release, how we will do the release, and what will be the downtime, uh, what will be the possibility of impact, what could be a area which we need to make sure that we should not impact to that. So where the release manager will define the strategy, do a collaboration with the different team and other things. Data analyst role also comes into in a way that he or she will identify the critical part of the product. He will identify that what is the feedback of a QA about this release and other things. Project manager or a product manager is responsible for overall operational activity for that. And a security, as I said even earlier, that a security engineer is nothing but that he will responsible for making sure that designing and maintaining of infrastructure and other things goes out in a right way. So the when you search standardized job profiles in the market, you will find this. Now based on experience, I have come across a certain categorization. So if you look out, what I have done is like I have categorized them on a tool specific role, because that's also right now booming into the market. That uh, when you search for a job profile as a DevOps, they have written a lot of activities that you should be aware about this, you should be aware about this, you should be aware about this. But where you are fit into and what skill you are carrying and what is your area of interest, that's a primary point where you need to identify that okay, what I need to do in those cases. So there is a one job profile which is called as a cloud ops engineer, where he or she is only responsible for a cloud activity. Right now, like if you observe a certain historical data, many of the company has faced that okay, only relying on AWS or only relying on Google Cloud is not worth, and that's why they have initiated to have a multi-cloud mode where certain things goes down, at least certain things will be available for them and their end customer will not be impacted. One of the example is nothing but a Netflix, where they have multi-cloud infrastructure. When I say IAS automation engineer or for a multi-cloud, he or she is nothing but responsible for managing or maintaining or creating the infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, your EC2 instances or your security patches or your operating system level of part, a lot of other things. So there are mainly two tools which are in the market. One is obviously from the AWS, which is a cloud formation, and another is also in the market, which is required a lot of, which is providing also a lot of certification and other things, which is nothing but a Terraform. Now when it goes a Terraform, the concept is obviously that if you have a Google Cloud or Azure or AWS, that provide you a multi-cloud infrastructure creation, you can have your code based JSON file or your rewritable file which you can use and have your cloud formation or your Terraform infrastructure with that. So there are a automation engineer role who is only responsible for a IaaS automation, like infrastructure part. Then it goes to a DevSecOps. As we are seeing security as a major concern, this is one of the booming area which you can consider as your career focus. And if you are coming from a, system administrator or a IT based background where you are already aware about what are the Linux based compliance you need to follow, or what are the security level of compliance you need to follow, or if you are already from a quality assurance, quality process background, you might be aware that what are the compliances which one project should follow or one product should follow. So based on that experience, that will help you to identify your career path, that okay, you can go as a SecOps engineer or a DevOps DevSecOps engineer, where you will help someone to decide their strategy, that what should be your information security strategy. And obviously when it's a startup, or you might not require it, but when you go on a middle level, many organization even need those kind of compliances. So and many product will require that. So even those products which are being hacked or which are being failed, DevSecOps engineer's role comes into the higher mode, that he will be responsible to make sure that those things or those compliance are followed, and that will help their product or their infrastructure to be little secure. Build engineer, one of the major tool which is being used as a Git, so which is also called as a GitOps engineer, where he is responsible for branching strategy, discussion with the development team, approving the PR, making sure that PR methodology, PR documentation, mapping of that with the Jira, everything get followed. So those mainly called as a build engineer or a GitOps engineer, where their skills match into that. Network engineer or a network administrator or a NetOps. So we have seen, like even at a local organizational level, we have a lot of network glitches into that. So same goes with the cloud also, that if you are not following the right level of network strategy, right level of permission level, right level of accessibility, right level of user level of restrictions and other things, then you will be in a mode that even because of network failure or certain other network access level of issue, your infrastructure goes in a unaccessibility mode or not in a availability mode, and that obviously goes in a end users impact. So there is another job profile which goes as an that net ops. R&D engineer, so many of those who are coming from a development background or who are keen into learning out new tools and technology, they might be following out this. They might be aware that okay, as a developer, you are aware that what you need to deploy and how you need to deploy, but you are not sure that which is the right tool which can help you. So now the trend going out in a way that like organizations are keeping subject matter expert. They are nothing but that they have a larger level of skill set into different domain or a different technology, and they will identify that okay, which tools or which software they need to use for making sure their environment or infrastructure available. When I say infrastructure and environment, yes, like for example, if you really need to use Ansible, or Puppet is good. For a Linux networking, what will be, or monitoring, what will be your right level of software? Do you need to go on a paid software or a open source software? You need to use a Grafana, or you need to use any paid software from a Cisco or some other company. So those are a decision making part where R&D engineers will identify that, okay, which software and which tools you need to use, and they will redirect or they will guide you that, okay, this is the right level of tool. Automation engineer for Python. So Python is one of the language where lot of Linux based security and other things coming into the picture. So if you are not using a Python, you can have another automation engineer who will help you to identify and making sure your infrastructure availability and other things, or a validation of test and other things that can be developed by that engineer. So as a QA engineer, we can also fit into this role where we can have a role of a R&D engineer with respect to a certain tool or a technology, and with reference to that, we can also opt certain other role out of this. When I say a monitoring role or a site reliability engineer, site reliability engineer is one of the key role because they are on a customer front or they are on a user front. They are responsible to making sure that your infrastructure and your role, like your product is always available to your end customer. So they do a live ops or a tech ops or a platform based operations, infrastructure based operations. They do moreover everything, but with a limited level. So they are not responsible that what will be your strategy for a DevSecOps, or what will be your ideal IA like infrastructure, or what will be your multi-cloud technology part, but they will mainly aware about that what actually it's about, and they will making sure that yes, that should be available to the end user. And so here one of the key skill which required is like you should make yourself flexible to work in the shift, because you moreover when we go on a service market of our India, like we mainly require engineers who are working in a different shift and who manage the shift, and you might even have engineers or leads who are working in a night shift to making sure that they do a right level of changes and making sure the infrastructure is available. So that's where the monitoring or a site reliability engineer role come into the picture. Uh, with respect to that, now I'm moving to the next slide. Uh, this is one of the interest where you will find that, okay, where or what tool I am aware about and where I can be fit into. So right now, like many of the organization prefers to use open source tools. So when I say open source tools, they are mainly looking out where based on my technology or based on my need, which tool I need to use. So for a repository, JFrog, Artifactory, or GitHub or GitLab, they are using. So when I say a create is nothing but a development, and I think this is one of the ideal DevOps symbol which everyone has referred out. When I say a symbol, which is a combination of dev at where agile is written, and right side is nothing but a ops, and it's a combination of dev plus ops. So uh, when it's a create is nothing but a design or a development. So for a development, which tool and technology you are using will build what is the build methodology you are following. So either you are using Jenkins or any other tool, what is the integration methodology you are following, which IDE you are using, that will come into the picture over here. So this is just for your reference that whatever tool and skill you are aware about, that will help you to choose that, okay, in which part or which area I can be fit into. Next goes on planning. So there are a lot of planning tools available. Along with that, what development planning or what development methodology or what framework I am going to use. So on the left side, they are nothing but a tool which are a open source tool, and the right side is nothing but a different level of framework which can be used. So as a QA also, we are using this behavior driven or a JBehave and other things as an test automation development framework and other part. Same goes on even development front also. Release, deployment, and coordination is again one of the area where even Jenkins also comes over here. But yeah, Jenkins right now also playing the same level of role, but there are other CI/CD tools also available in the market. Integration tools, Chef, Puppet, Ansible. So you can again identify that which tool you are fit into. Infrastructure, as I said, reliability engineer or a site, other engineers who can use this kind of a tool or utilities which can help them to identify that, okay, my infrastructure or my application is available, and I'll make sure that right level of reference is another level. So Apache, ELK and other things, they are being used wisely. Graphite, Grafana is also one of the tool which is being used. Containerization, yes, one of the most trending into the DevOps. But if you see, it's not only part which is trending. Remaining all are also equally part. So I have seen queries or a question like, if I'm not aware about Docker and Kubernetes, can I be a DevOps engineer? Yes, you can, because you are not you might not able to do the detail orientation with the Kubernetes and Docker deployment, but remaining area you can still cover, and that's where the lot of like role variation comes into the picture. So Docker was earlier being used, and now it's wisely used, overtaken by Kubernetes. So yeah, they are also equally using Docker only at the inside, but they are providing a very good containerization methodology, and that's why everyone is now trying to move into the Kubernetes. Mesos was one of the cloud orchestration tool earlier, but now again the trend goes out on a Kubernetes. And then on the last part, which is a verify, actually it's not a last part, it's a continuous process, as I said earlier. But in the diagram it's showing out like verification or Appium, JMeter, uh, Bugzilla, Mantis, other things, or even a Jira and other things. What all software right now we are using, those are moreover goes into the software QA front, which is nothing but here. SonarQube, yes, for unit test automation and other things, and validation of that and standards. Security, yes, we may need to use a HashiCorp Vault or some other methodology to have your key and other things on a secure front. So these are the DevOps tools which are right now wisely used into the market, and they are open source. Other than these, there are a lot of paid tools also, which and yes, there is no cloud platform because they are not free, so that's why they are not here. But these all are indirectly or directly goes out with the cloud platform like AWS or GCP or Azure. So that's how the tool used in DevOps. And now the most important question which might be going into your minds, that where do I fit? So when you have a question, if you are having a manual software QA uh, like background, and you need to go into the DevOps, most important part is you need to at least learn certain level of automations, like how you can have like infrastructure level of JSON creation using code, or Jenkins job creation, or deploying certain things using a certain Python or a Java based script. So certain basic knowledge with the automation, and you need to gradually then only you can gradually move into the DevOps. If you are only and only a manual software QA, and you are not aware about any tools and technology, not flexible to learn automation or not flexible to learn a new tools, uh, you need to change your mindset and start learning out that, so that you can make yourself as an DevOps compatible DevOps engineer. If you are from a background where you are aware about QA automation, there is another role which is coming out as QA automation engineer for a cloud. When it goes on a cloud, like he or she is responsible that a cloud infrastructure from the background get validated. So like if I'm following a certain methodology with that, actually whether they are being right or not. So like someone has created a JSON file using a Terraform or some cloud formation, and you need to validate that okay, when that file will create an infrastructure, will it for go into the right format? So that's a different kind of a role which is coming out right now in the market, which called as a QA automation for a cloud. And you will require a infrastructure level of understanding that what should be my right level of infrastructure. So I should be aware about obviously a, cloud platform which I'm going to use, either it's a GCP or a AWS or anything, or Azure. But you should be aware about that, how, what is the terminology for that, how that can be built up using a command line. So basic knowledge with like a cloud services and cloud infrastructural part, and then having a script out of that or a manual out of that, that you can do. And then you can perform a same level of load testing and validate that, okay, when I raise this level of load, then what is the behavior out of that, so that you can perform on a cloud, same as we are doing with the QA activity, that you can do on a QA infrastructure or a staging infrastructure. And then once you have a confidence on that, you can move the same level of designing into the production environment. And if you have a past experience in the Linux and automation, yes, you can easily migrate into the DevOps. What you need to do is pick up the tool which you want to learn, pick up the technology which you want to move on. There are a possibility that you might not get the same level of options into your current organization, but yeah, there are a possibility that you can learn those things by yourself. There are Udemy courses, there are certain other courses available. You can use those courses, make yourself certified out of that. Certification will nothing but will give an uh, surety that yes, you are aware about certain skills. And then when you have a hands-on, so hands-on is one of the key activity, because Kubernetes right now, that certification will obviously require your hands-on. If you are not having any hands-on, you will not able to do a certification, because the question or the queries which they are asking during a certification exams, those are moreover on your practical experience, that what you need to react or what you need to perform when you are in a certain situations. So, and the certification organizations are also changing their methodologies. So yes, you need to learn, do a hands-on, and then only you can move into the DevOps. This is what I was planning to discuss out or share out with you. Now I'm keeping the forum open, because I know that a lot of people have a lot of queries, and that's the reason to have a first session only with this level of detail. So I'm opening the session for a question answer. So you can start posting your question, and I'll start responding. And Rishil, do we have any specific questions so far, so I can uh, go ahead and start answering that also? Hello. Okay, so I'll start with, can you share the learning path from transition to DevOps from traditional testing role? Sure. So when I say a traditional testing role, do you mean a manual testing? If it's a manual testing, first you need to identify that which tool you want to, or which cloud tool you need to learn. So maybe either it's a AWS or a GCP, because that's a primary requirement for any of the cloud ops engineer. Because whatever tool you will even configure, maybe like if you are configuring a Jenkins, okay, first step to learn from automation. Okay, just a minute. Uh, I think I am right now considering a question from a Chintan, that can you share the learning path from okay. So when I say a question from a Chintan, and then Nandini also said out the same thing maybe. So just a minute, let me go through all the question first, and then I'll start answering that. Give me a moment. Okay, can you please share these charts so organization looking for open source things? Yeah, I will share that, Chintan. We will share the PPT. Okay, do you have manual tester without coding knowledge can move into DevOps? Yes. When so I'm now starting from the question of Yakub. So Yakub, your question goes out like, can manual tester go into the DevOps? Yes. How you can move, you will not require a detailed coding, but when I say, for example, a knowledge of an infrastructural part, like what should be my so maybe you might need to learn a basic, in a sense that learn a JSON creation using any of the programming language, because other than AWS, nobody is providing a drag and drop infrastructure creation. So you will need to understand that how the standards are being followed. for an infrastructure engineer, and then you can move into the as I shown in one of the slide, that you can be migrated as a infrastructure engineer, which is a nothing but a this role, IaaS automation engineer for a multi-cloud, where you will be responsible for a multi cloud infrastructure creation. Okay. Okay, please change the manual to functional, as nothing called manual testing, tester and software QA. Okay, point well taken. Just explain more like that basic automation knowledge is required to start a DevOps. Okay, can you please share the learning path from? Okay, so now I'll go on a question from a Chintan. So can you please share the learning path from transition to DevOps from a traditional role? So when I say a traditional QA role, what we usually do is like we are making sure that a product quality is up to the mark, and for that, if we are doing a manual test role, like test cases and other things, same out goes, or even on a DevOps front, that even for a DevOps, the a traditional methodology will be followed, that what will be my infrastructure, they need to write down, they need to point it down, they need to do a certain trial and error on a QA front, QA environment or a dev environment, they will do a certain level of deployment and other things. But if you are not interested to learn a coding, you can still go out on a having a good knowledge on a GitOps front, so you can go with the GitOps engineer role. You can develop your career path as a DevSecOps engineer also. You can develop your career path as a infrastructure as a code engineer also, multi-cloud DevOps engineer also. And yes, if you are keen to learn, and if you are very good into the Jenkins, even there are certain organizations which are asking to have a Jenkins expert or a CI/CD expert as a job profile. So you can even identify, but yeah, the choice will be limited in those cases. So when I say a DevOps as a career path, what we mean to say is like, if you have a multiple skills, that will help you to move or migrate little easily compared to current skill set. Okay, for someone who has no knowledge of testing, yes, Salman, if you are not having a knowledge of testing, still you can migrate into any of this role, because these are not a primary role which required a software QA background. But yes, if that will help you to set up a methodology, because as I shown earlier, availability, flexibility, documentation, those are a good skill or a primary skill of a software QA engineer, and that can help someone to migrate easily. Can you talk about Docker and Kubernetes? Yes, Harshal. So Docker and Kubernetes, yes, they are containerization tool, and they are wisely being used for a product deployment and other part. We are in a plan to have a sessions on that. So keep tuning for that. Please suggest a DevOps platform which is based on all open source tools. So yeah, I think I have shown. So when I say cloud platform, there is no cloud platform which is open source fully. And tools and software, I have shown you one image, out of which whatever base suits to project or a product. Jenkins, people are using. GitHub is not that free, so it's a kind of a combination. It's not 100% open source. You will require a few of the paid software also. How to transform automation architect to a cloud architect role? Good question, Sridhar. So if you are in a thought to migrate from automation architect to a cloud architect, first you need to identify a technologies. As I say, a technology, you can even be fitted to R&D engineer, where you can do a different level of deployment methodology or deployment strategy and other things. You can be a subject matter expert of your cloud entire part. And if you want to go out on a specific mode, what you can do is like, you can have a multi-cloud, where you can have a certifications out of that, or a infrastructure engineer, those level of role. Because if you are automation engineer, you might already aware about GitOps, you might already aware about automation engineer with the Python and other things. You might be using infrastructure as a code to have a deployment on certain things using Jenkins and other things, or a Docker and other things. So that can be your possible way to go. What core difference between SDET and DevOps? Yes, SDET is nothing but a software development engineer for test, and DevOps, there is a big difference out of that, Bhargav. So QA engineer is only responsible for a quality, where DevOps engineer is responsible for availability of infrastructure, making sure that it goes out in a right way. So as I shown one of the slide, this one, that DevOps is nothing but a methodology. Okay, when I say a methodology, where it contains a lot of other things. When it goes to a QA, it's a procedure. We follow a specific checklist, we follow a specific steps and move forward on that. I started my career in integration QA for a few months back, which tool boost my integration tester. Uh, as an integration tester, you can use like at least start with the Jenkins, because job integration and other things will come into the picture, and then learn certain cloud softwares also that will help you. Which cloud should be learned first? That goes on, Mandar, your project or organizational need. I will not comment on that. Mechanical engineer. So yes, I think I'm not knowing your name, but you mentioned UW. So just answer to that, like if you are from any background, if companies are not interested, what you need to do, you go out in the market, or you even follow this path, that where what the market demand is, and from that market demand, you can identify that, okay, which things you can learn and give them a possibility that, okay, I can be fit into this role. So based on that, you can apply, and you might have your new career or a new job. uh, I think, Sridhar, I already answered you. DevOps is not only for software QA. DevOps is for software QA can be part of software DevOps. uh, uh, QA can easily migrate because of those primary skills which QA is having. So Mike, it's not about only software QA. Anyone can be part of a DevOps role for QA automation for cloud. Particular course, Anitha, there are a lot of uh, training institute as well as a courses available. So first you need to identify your career willingness. First you need to identify that, okay, I want to go as a cloud ops engineer for a multi-cloud, or I want to go as a build engineer or a automation engineer or DevSecOps engineer, or even a monitoring or a site reliability engineer. And then you can identify that, okay, where I can be, and where I suit into. Okay, so then you can identify the course and move forward on that. Python data structure and algorithms. Jayshree, maybe for if you are having a Python, you can go into the R&D engineer role, and then whatever other tools are required to learn out of that, you can learn, and that will help you to move. Okay, Sandeep asked what industry are moving towards, and at what rate to DevOps. What part of software development is going to require testing in DevOps culture? Uh, Sandeep, DevOps will be a future, considering everyone is now demanding a higher availability. And when it goes a higher availability, the product quality as well as availability both comes into the picture. Because if product having a bug, you might have a availability, but product is not accessible. And same goes out with your product is available, but it's broken. So software QA and software DevOps both come into the picture, but trending goes out right now with the DevOps, because a lot of new technology and tools are coming into that. Praveen, if you are saying ENSIBLE, I'm not sure, but yes, ANSIBLE, Ansible comes into the picture. And if you go here on an R&D engineer role, the Ansible has been written. So yes, what are the activities for DevOps engineers? I already cover. If we have knowledge of Azure, then yes, Rakhi, we can learn DevOps. DevOps, as I said, DevOps is big term. It combines lot of small role, and that's why I have my categorize them over here. So you can learn any of them and select your career path. Sanjay said there is. Uh, Sangeet saying like Sanjay said that nothing called manual QA. So I'll not comment on that, but yeah, functional testing required a manual testing as well as an automation testing. So manual testing is there when I say manual activities which we are performing, and functional testing is a higher terminology for that. No, Python is not mandatory or not even a Java if you are even familiar with any other tools and technology, because as I said, few required. So for example, first one does not require any coding experience. Second one required certain. Third one does not required. Fourth one not required. Fifth one not required. Sixth one required, and seventh one required. Because if you have a Python skill, you can make a site reliability engineer's life easy by creating certain tools or certain platforms. So then it will be helpful. Okay, what is the starting point for a certification? Certification, again, you need to first identify that which certification or which skill you want to go, and then you can identify that, okay, if I want to go with the AWS, maybe you can start with the AWS practitioner, do some hands-on, do a certification, get a confidence, gain a confidence, and then go with the certain higher level of certification. Praveen, Aurora, open source DevOps platform which has inbuilt tools mentioned in your slide, not aware about that. If any direct open source where it provides all integrations, no, sorry, I'm not aware about that. Does DevOps deals with big data? So big data, cloud computing, those are coming in on a product front. DevOps engineer will not responsible in a larger front to develop that, but deployment, integration, validation, making sure it's available, those where Satya DevOps engineers role come into the picture. 4 year of experience considered for DevOps engineer role, I will be considered. No, Mandar, if you have automation testing experience, you won't be considered as a fresher because you are aware about certain things, and you can just migrate out to the right skill that will help you to gain little other things. Starting for Azure certifications or Azure DevOps, yes, as I said, like it goes out with your organizational demand or your willingness that, okay, what you want to learn, and based on that you can start with the certification. So there is no starting point, friends. You need to first go and identify that, okay, which role I want to go, and based on that you can choose your starting path. If you want to go with the Azure, you first start that, okay, what is Azure, and then go with the certain courses out of that, and then gradually learn those things. Implementation of slide 9. Not aware about what, Praveen, you are mainly referring to. Sharon, not a dedicated role in DevOps, but when I say a DevOps role in software QA, as I said, there is a one career path which is we are seeing, which is QA automation for a cloud, where cloud operations with a low test or infrastructure service modifications or infrastructure service validation and other things, where the software QA are mainly demanded right now. So yes, you need to explore that part, and surely that will help you. So mandatory automation is not only required. Even if you have automation, that will be added advantage. If not, you can still go out with that. Automation does not require, sorry, DevOps does not require a high level of coding, Jignesh. It mainly goes out basic level of skill set that will help you to build out certain things or scripts or certain other things for your tool. But yes, if you want to develop a certain monitoring tool for yourself or your product based on your need, you will require a high level of skill set on that. Okay, if automation, my automation team is already synced with Jenkins, but the development team is, we should share out benefit out of that, like why they should go out with Jenkins, give them a practical demo, and that will help them to learn and adapt the new things. Because yes, people are not adapting certain new tools and technology, but if you show them a benefit like that can be run at a night time also when you are not available and other things, that will even give you a report via email and other things, I'm sure they will understand the importance and they will adapt the things. Isn't DevOps more culture and infra is different? Yes, of course, we can have multiple. Yes. So Bridges, you said it rightly that isn't DevOps more of a culture? And I said the same thing with the experience that DevOps is a methodology or a culture which we can follow to have our and with the reference of continuous feedback. It's not something that it's always to be followed, but yeah, it's a continuous feedback activity. So it's not something that if you have defined and you cannot change it, you need to change it, you need to enhance it. Infrastructure is different, yes, 100%, because infrastructure goes out in a way that what should be my ideal infrastructure based on my product development. It is not something that I can define or copy it somewhere from somewhere and follow it. So DevOps is a culture or a methodology which we need to follow for our product or our infrastructure development, and then we need to maintain it with the different methodology or different role, and we can have a multiple framework for implementing. True, Bridges, I follow you on that. Can you show roadmap for DevOps? So I already shared out a roadmap for DevOps with this PPT. So I think if you have still a question, you can drop an email to us. I'll try to respond you on that. Rohan, certifications, as I said, Kubernetes is highly demanded, Docker certification or a Jenkins certification or AWS GCP. But again, it goes based on Terraform certification, but it goes on your need. Because if you are having certification and if you are not utilizing it in your product or your implementation, they are not of worthless, right? They are worthless. So ideally, you should go out with your need base and then only you should follow that. Praveen, you can go into the R&D, but you need to develop certain skill set to go into R&D, and in which particular area. Because right now maybe you are using a Ansible, maybe tomorrow something else come, you might need to develop that ability to validate that. So domain knowledge will be primary skill, because based on that only you will able to do R&D for that. So domain knowledge, right awareness about your product implementation and other things will be a key if you are if you want to be a part of R&D team. Open source tool for WPS, WinForm based application. Praveen, I'm not aware about WinForm based application automation, so sorry for that. I said DevSecOps does not require, because coding does not require. The only purpose with that is maybe we are we if we have, it's an obviously added advantage, but mainly we are responsible to follow compliances and other things as well as certain administrative activities on a security front. So Linux certification and depth knowledge of that would be highly required, but uh, as per my experience, programming or a detail or a depth programming is not that much required. 10 people skill in one person. Yeah, that's true, Ameya. And that's how right now going everywhere that, and that's where the DevOps engineers roles having even required a lot of skill. So your question is very right that these days companies are becoming more demanding. They are looking for 10 people's skill in one person, how to handle. So that's true. We need to gradually learn and adapt whatever we can. Obviously we should not give that level of pressure that will not help, because even if you are aware about 10 things, but if you are right now not able to use it in a right way at a right place, it's worthless. So yeah. So I have 64 questions in the pipeline. So now I'll go little faster because it's already 12. Implementation of container like Kubernetes as far as test automation is considered. Kubernetes is a containerization. So for example, earlier we were creating one EC2 instance for deploying one of our application, second EC2 instance for a second application, and integration of that and other things. And then if you have a 20 GB of space, out of that, if only 5 GB are being used, the remaining 15 GB are useless. But with the Kubernetes concept, only in one EC2 instance you can have both in one environment. So you are saving a cost of one instance. So that's one of the benefit of a containerization methodology. There are a lot of other benefits also, like service auto restart and other things. But yeah, this is primarily cost saving benefit I can share out about Kubernetes. Front-end developer role and technology I can. So Mahek, if you are a front-end developer, so as you are already in a development background, you can adapt this infrastructure as a code as well as R&D engineer, because that will help you to match on your current skill. Functional testing experience, development, now willing to move. Automation testing. Yeah, so automation testing, you need to start with any of the tool which is right now in the demand, and then only you can move forward. VINFORM application can be Vinum. So Abhay has answered you, uh, Pranav. So yeah, I think that's covered your part also. So I think I have covered out all the questions. And yeah, if you still have any question and queries, feel free to send out either on our Facebook page or our Rishil has already said out everything. Please follow that. Once we will post the YouTube video, even you can post down questions on that page also. We will try to answer you that also. So that will help. We will be connected on that way. So that's all I think pretty much. If someone have, yeah, I am. We can open for till 12:10. So yeah, you can ask the question. Maybe a silly question, but DevOps, you need to perform testing. Um, Yes, uh, just to make sure that your application is up and running. So when you say that, okay, as a deployment engineer, you perform a certain activity, and then how do you make sure that it's right way? So either you follow a checklist, either you follow testing steps, or even you can follow a Jenkins job. You can run that Jenkins job, Samir, and have your result. But yeah, it's a kind of a testing activity. That's true, that that comes under a deployment testing. But as a DevOps engineer also, when, for example, if my um, AWS infrastructure having some issue and one of the instance get down or having an load level of issue, and because of that my application was not behaving rightly, so how do I make sure? So I will do a root cause analysis that where the issue was, and then when I say as a site reliability engineer, the last role as a site reliability engineer, I need to even assure that for next 1 or 2 hours same issue should not occur. So I will keep eye on manually validating my website, or that okay, that functionality is working fine or not. So that's indirectly a software QA part only. I am not sure if Tosca is used in DevOps or not, because I have not used it. Yes, kind of a sanity, but on a regular basis, because that will help our platform to be on a availability mode. Otherwise, we will not able to assure that okay, it's up and running. But yeah, it's a kind of a sanity we can consider, and sanity can be automation also, like a Jenkins job, which perform on a every 30 minute, or even we can trigger it manually. Do we need to do smoke? Yes, we need to perform a smoke test also. We will not perform an integration for sure and functional. Okay, is DevOps who is responsible for testing the product? Where is the testing done? Uh, Sharon, can you elaborate what's your question is? I'm not able to understand. Which automation tool? Selenium plus Python or a Java, running since a longer time, and you can learn that. And let me add one part for identifying locators. We give very good session. We had a very good session from Sanjay, who has developed a selector hub. So use a selector hub to identify elements. That is a very good tool which you can use during learning also. So after each deployment, tester just start with smoke run to check the build stability. That's what a kind of a role a site reliability engineer need to play, Jignesh, because site reliability engineer working 24/7. So for example, at a midnight 2, something has broken, he will not able to call anybody. But what he will do, he will perform a certain activity on a cloud platform and making sure that it's working and available, and then perform a checklist or a kind of a sanity or a smoke test or a test steps that will help to make sure that it's available. Not only automation testing in DevOps, mainly automation focused testing in DevOps. Not always, Sharon, but yeah, if you have automation background, that will help you in a little other way of DevOps role also. We have 2 minutes left. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
So hello everyone. So all your remaining questions, even after if you visit the video recording, which will be uploaded on CSQA YouTube channel, and still if you have any query, you can email to us, or you can just provide the comment in the YouTube video, and we'll be answering all of your questions.
Yeah, and just to add one more thing, what next for you? So CSQA is coming with a security testing expert in the this week, this month only. So we are having a next session in, we will surely announce in this week only. And we, with reference to our DevOps essentials, we are coming out with AWS Infra Common Services, which are wisely used, and that will have a little elaboration and details out of that. So please tune in to our channel as well as to our Facebook and LinkedIn page. We will surely send out details to you.
Thank you everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and please follow our LinkedIn channel, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any suggestion, if you want any workshop or any training to be held, then please give a suggestion, and we would be happy to uh, have that for you.
True. Yes. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you
everyone.
everyone.
Wish you
Thank you
good
so
day.
much.